So first we need to understand what is Docker image and how it is different to container. Docker image can be described as a template with all required configuration, whereas a container is a running instance of Docker image. Like container, images are not bound to state, which means if you remember when we created container, it can run, it can be stopped, or it can be freezed, it can be paused. So there are multiple operations. With image, basically image does not have state. There are different images available from operating system or application vendors with the customization or the base images, and you can get multiple images from the community. When you are working as DevOps engineer or application engineer, generally the teams create their own Docker image with all the required customization, which enable them to launch a container quickly. The two methods, by following them, we can create images. They are interactive method, and second one is automated method with Dockerfile. In our first session, I have already discussed about interactive method. In interactive method, you can download the base Docker operating system image. Then you can create a container from that particular image. Then you can boot that container and manually launch a shell. Once you have shell access, you can perform your customization. When I say customization, it can be you patch your particular container, you add different packages, you add different scripts, you create something to start on container boot up, and after that you can commit the changes. Once you commit changes, automatically a image is created. Then you can tag your image, you can put repository information. After that you can store or distribute that particular image to community, or if you want to upload on your custom repo. The second method, which is automated method using Dockerfile, that's a popular one. So what is Dockerfile? Dockerfile is a text file with the directives or instruction for image creation. And Docker build command is used to build the image, which creates or configure the image automatically by reading the content or instructions which are defined in Dockerfile. For a Dockerfile, all the information need to be defined in following format. Column 1, that is basically directive. Column 2, that is arguments. Directive always need to be in uppercase. In our lab today, we are going to create a Dockerfile, which in turn is going to create a Apache HTTPD web server running on CentOS 7 Docker image. At high level, we are going to do below configuration. First, we are going to download official CentOS 7 image. Then we are going to update the packages using yum update. Then install HTTP Apache server. Then we are going to add the directive to add or copy index.html from your Docker management server to the document root on the image. Document root is basically var www.html, which is the default location. After that, we are going to enable port 84, automatic network initialization on port 80 whenever you create a container from this particular image. Then we are going to configure auto startup of Apache HTTP service. And let's discuss a couple of directives or instructions which we have to define in Dockerfile. First instruction is from. From mean it tells which base image to be used. Your base image is basically your CentOS image, Ubuntu, Fedora, Red Hat, or any different version of Linux or any other operating system. Run. This is used to define the commands which need to be executed during the image build. Add is used to define files or directories which need to be copied from source to image. Entry point. This directive defines container as executable because you are going to run some scripts, right? So in that case, you have to define those as entry points. CMD. CMD directive is used along with entry point. It can be defined to use arguments which need to be put for the entry point executable. Then expose. This directive defines network ports on which container can or will listen. This is a simple Dockerfile which we are going to use today. So here from CentOS latest, I'm saying CentOS is the repository latest image. Then I'm adding maintainer. Maintainer basically who is maintaining this image. I had my name, this is my email ID. Then with run, I'm doing patching. Yum update -y. After that, I'm cleaning yum processes. Then I'm installing net tools. Then installing httpd. Then again yum clean. After that, I'm using add directive to copy index.html file from my source server to the image in the path var www/html. After that, I'm defining expose 80. 80 means it is network port because HTTP by default listen on port 80, so I'm exposing this port. If you got some custom service, let's say you got MySQL database, you know what is the default port it is using, you have to expose that particular port. If your web server is running on, let's say, some custom port 8080, then you have to expose that particular port here. And in turn, you have to modify in the configuration file in the image also. That's a two-way process. After that, I'm defining entry point. I'm saying this is my service user spin httpd, and this need to be started with cmd -d foreground. Once I have defined this file, I can build image by using docker build command, docker build -d repository, then image name, and I can put tag. Tag can be latest or some custom tag, whatever you wish for identification. Then space dot mean from current directory. Basically, you have to be in directory where Dockerfile is created. Once your image is created, you can list it with docker images command, and you can create a container to test whether your image creation worked as per your requirements, means everything is working. Basically, you can create a container from that image, and you can use command docker run space -it. It is going to allocate terminal -d -P image id. Once your image is launched, a container, you know, like we have installed Apache, we have added our index.html file. We can basically curl container IP on port 80. If it is returning our web page or something which we have in index.html, it means our container is running and image is perfect. So that is something. Let's do practical session where we are going to discuss or perform these actions of image creation. So let me open one putty session. Okay friends, I'm on server. This is my CentOS 7 server which I'm using for Docker management. So let me create one directory, mkdir/apps. Let me name it Docker images. So no such file. Let me run mkdir -p. Okay, so it is done. Let me cd to apps. You can choose any directory as per your wish. There is no hard rule like you have to name directory in that way. So vim Dockerfile. So I have pasted the information which I got. Let me save it. We have already discussed like what are the directives, what are the options we have choose. Okay, so we got our Dockerfile now. Okay, this is the Dockerfile content. Let me quickly list out the images which are currently available on this particular machine. So we can run docker images. If you see right now it's blank, no image at all. So let's build our first image, and image creation process is going to read this particular file. To do so, we can run docker build. Before starting build, because I got directive to copy index.html, let me quickly create one index.html file in my current directory. So I've added this is my title and this is body, like this is demo page to confirm Apache. If we can see this text, it means our web server created successfully. Okay, I have saved file. So let me quickly build image with the directive information. Okay, so I have executed command docker build space -t is tagging. I'm saying yogesh slash apache dash centos colon is the tag, latest dot mean from current directory, build the image. So I got error. It is saying this particular image library not found. So what's the issue? Let me quickly have a look in my Dockerfile. So I defined CentOS 7. Okay, so that's my mistake. Image need to be CentOS. So let me quickly modify this file. Here, let me change it. CentOS. So let's run now. Same command. So now it is doing step 1, which is pulling the CentOS latest image locally. So it already pulled image. This is the image. After that, step 2, which is adding maintainer, it added maintainer, and with every step it will create an intermediate container and automatically it will remove it once that step is created or completed. Now it is running yum update -y. If you see, it is contacting the CentOS repository. These are the packages which are getting updated with the yum update process inside the container image. So it may take a couple of minutes because it is presently updating packages. Now it's verifying it, going good as of now. Okay, now it is on next step, which is yum cleano. That is also finished. Now the 5th step, which is to install nettool, that is going at present. Again, it will contact yum repository. You can define all the yum related command in single command, but for simplicity I have defined in different steps. But let's say you got 4 different yum commands and you can run those in serial or series. You can put those in single directive. So it is installing nettools. So with nettool it gave error, like it returned non-zero error, non-zero value. So that's something it failed. Let me quickly have a look. Transaction is saved here, and what's the error? Let's quickly see. Basically this thing is inside the image, so we can't check. Basically it failed. What may be the reason? Let me see. Because file systems code space. Let's retry the build process from same stage. It will start from the step where it failed, and let's see how it goes this time. Otherwise we have to do troubleshooting. The error is exiting on user command. So something may be wrong in my Dockerfile. Let me quickly see what's wrong in Dockerfile. Okay, I got it, friends. If you see, because I copy pasted data, and if you see, this minus is became gen character. So let me get rid of this one and let me add -5. Now if you see, it looks good. I believe this time it should go fine. So that's good. We got error. That's a good thing to check your Dockerfile before starting the build. I missed that, so I got error. I'm just retrying. I'm 100% sure this time it is going to work without any error because we have fixed the issue. It is always good whenever you're doing session you got some real-time error, because it's a learning. Even I'm learning new things while performing these things or these particular sessions. If you see this time, net tool installation worked fine. So only thing, junk data was copied when we copied it from Notepad to this VI editor. Now HTTP installation is going on here, which is our next step. After that, we are going to copy index.html from local directory to the container image inside document root, which is where www/html. Okay, so it looks fine. Installation is going good as of now. So now it will copy the file, which is index.html file. And one another thing I want to tell, I'm copying single file. Let's say you got multiple files or multiple directories. You can create a tarball, then you can add that tarball, which will get copied to container. Then you can run a command to extract that tarball to your desired path. So that's a way. If you see after that, it copied index.html, that worked fine. After that, it exposed the port 80, which means this container can accept traffic on port 80 whenever container is running. Then it created entry point, which is starting this particular command, and then it added arguments, which is -d fork around. And after that, at the end, we got message successfully built this particular image. This is the image ID, friends. So now we got our custom image with the latest CentOS 7 along with all the patch updates, with the custom index.html, with the exposed port 80, and the entry point directive, which will start the service automatically when container boots. So let's quickly list out the images now. Docker images, same command. If you see now, we can see two images. One is this one, Docker CentOS 7. This is the default one, which automatically got downloaded when we started the build of this one, because the first directive we got, that was from CentOS latest. So this image got downloaded during that process. So this is our image, which is custom image with Apache on CentOS. So let's quickly test this image, whether that is working fine or not. One thing, maybe I'm not sure whether you have noticed or not, if you see size here, this image which we downloaded, that was 10 weeks ago or 10 weeks old image, size was 191 MB. When we created our image, it was created a minute ago, size is 442 MB. Why 442 MB? Because it got all the latest patches installed and we have added Apache. That's the reason the image size is a bit big. Depending upon your customization, image size will be changing. Now let's quickly build a server from this particular image. So docker run -it tool allocate terminal d -p -h. -h is basically if you want to allocate a host name to a Docker container. By default, it will get some ID, numeric ID. But if you want to allocate a host name, you can say, okay, this is my CentOS Apache or something. Then you have to specify your image ID. I'm going to use my custom image which I just created. I will press enter now. Okay, if you see, I got this particular ID, which is my container. It's not container ID, it is basically startup ID. And next thing, I can quickly see what is the IP address allocated to this particular container which I just started. To do so, I can run docker network inspect bridge, because default network is bridge. If you see, this is the IP address allocated to this particular image, 461 ending with 461, and this was the container which we just started ending with 461. So this is the IP address. So basically we can quickly do curl this particular IP on port 80 because we exposed port 80. Okay, if you see, we got our index.html visible, it means our Apache server is running and we are able to see our web page. Instead of curl, if you want to use some different browser, let's say you want to use command line browser, which is links. Let me quickly see if I go to links installed. No, links is not there. Let me install it and I can show you quick demo in links. Okay, links is installed. Let me run links command now with my container IP. If you see, I got this was my index.html file. I'm able to see, so it means my browser is good and it can connect to web server, which is my Apache HTTPD server running on CentOS. So that's it, friends. And let me quickly show another thing before I wrap up this session. So let's see, docker ps -a. It tells what are the Docker containers running. If you see, this was container created 2 minutes back, which is we recently created. It is still up, status up 2 minutes. It means this container is in running state. This is a container ID. This was the image used to create this container. So let's run docker exec container ID uname -a. If you see, this command is executed within container and this is the host name which we got. So that's a way you can specify host name. Or if you want to run ps, if you see, these are the HTTPD processes running inside the container. And if I run this command locally, these are the processes. Basically, these are running inside container, but locally you can also see those processes. So that's something which is very easy to create your own container instead of using someone's image, because in your way you know what is good for security or what is good for your setup, what are complete requirements. So I will always prefer, if you get chance, maybe initial container creation may take 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or depending upon your customization it may take more time. But again, once your container image is ready, then you can use it in a couple of seconds. You can build a container from that image. So that's it in this session, friends. I hope this video may give you, not give you, I believe this video have gave you a basic idea how you can create your own image. If you like this video, that's good. If you got some issues, some concerns, or you feel something I have mentioned wrong, you can leave a comment on my YouTube channel. I will try to respond as soon as possible. And thanks for watching this video, friends. Stay tuned. Thank you.